All right, y'all can go ahead and take make announcements.
Melinda Powell for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, present, ready to proceed.
Vince Nowak on behalf of the mother, Shania Sanchez. Judge, I am ready. I don't expect my client to appear.
Stacy Zavala on behalf of Lyric.
Okay, the father, Callum Porter, is not present in my waiting room or not let him into the proceeding. He was personally served back April 28th of 2025. We also had an unknown father who's not present.
And Judge, we never got the unknown father an attorney. We never had an attorney appointed to him, as Mr. Porter executed an affidavit or executed an AOP and is the presumed father.
Okay, all right, thank you. I was just looking back to see why we didn't have anybody for unknown. So
we did do paternity testing on another person who claimed to be father. He was not the father, and he was dismissed from the suit.
okay, that was on Mr. Ortiz. All right. All right, then Mr. Porter then has acknowledged. So I don't think I actually previously adjudicated him. Double checking.
You have not, Judge. Well, you have not.
Okay. All right, then. I would like to go ahead and do that so we can technically dismiss the unknown father before we start into any more testimony. So based on his AOP, I will adjudicate Callum Porter as the father of Lyric Porter and establish the parent-child relationship between them. All right, and we will dismiss any unknown father from the suit. Okay, Ms. Powell, then are we ready to go?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready.
Okay, first witness is...
My first witness will be Ruben Martinez.
All right, Mr. Martinez, you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give on trial today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. You may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Get my stuff together here. Mr. Martinez, please state your name.
Ruben Martinez.
And Mr. Martinez, how are you currently employed?
Child Protective Investigator through the state of Texas.
Okay. And I'm going to address this issue towards the front. Are you familiar with the child, Lyric Porter?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and one of the alleged fathers of that child was Callum Porter, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and were you aware that Mr. Porter executed an acknowledgement of paternity?
No, ma'am, I was not aware. I think it was in the mention that he did, but in my case, I think it was still trying to determine that he was the father or not.
Okay, but it was mentioned that he had executed that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Your Honor, I had to go ahead and ask to enter Exhibit 4 into evidence, which is the State of Texas Acknowledgement of Paternity. It does have the AOP number, entity code, and state file number on it.
No objection.
Sorry, no objection.
All right, then, hang on, I'm looking for my exhibits. Just a minute. Here we go. Finally got them. And that was Exhibit 4?
It was Exhibit 4.
Okay. All right, petitioner's Exhibit 4 will be admitted.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Okay, now, Mr. Martinez, who is Lyric's mother?
Shania Sanchez.
Okay, and why did the department become involved with this family?
Because we'd had 4 previous removals due to her methamphetamine usage.
Okay, and when did the department become involved with this child, Lyric Porter?
April 16th of 2025.
Okay, and was that at or around the birth of the child?
That is correct.
Okay, and once you received the case, what steps did you take to work the case?
Go out, talk to her, see if there was any possible placements. I believe I made contact with her at the hospital, and then with Lyric as well. I tried to see if there's any other family members, try to reach out to them, and at that time they weren't able to take in her child.
Okay, did you discuss the allegations with Ms. Sanchez on that date?
Yes, ma'am. And she stated that she had used 2 days prior to the baby being born.
And what did she state that she had used?
Methamphetamine.
Okay, and did you attempt to make contact with the father, Callum Porter, at that time also?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Were you able to make contact with Mr. Porter?
Yes.
And how did that contact go?
She was wanting Callum Porter to kind of adopt him, the baby. And so at that contact, it kind of got him an attorney, did all the paperwork, went over all that stuff with him, and told him about the removal.
Okay, but Mr. Porter at that time had executed as introduced into evidence an acknowledgement of paternity, correct?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so he was saying he is the father.
Yes.
Okay. Now, just for clarity, there has been some question about that. But again, that was the legal document that was executed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what was the situation in regards to his ability to take this child?
He was living with his mom at the time, and he was working, I think, I can't remember who he's working for, but it wasn't the ideal setup for him to take the baby at the time.
Okay,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't have the means of like fully supporting the baby at that time.
Okay. Was he willing to work with the department at all?
Yes, he was willing to do what it takes in order for his child.
Okay, at least that's what he told you at the time.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Now, what steps did you take to try to prevent the removal?
I talked to the maternal grandmother and several other family members to see if they were able to take in the child. And due to them not being able to, they were caring for another child, and they weren't able to take Lyric in at that time.
Okay. Now, on April 17th, when you spoke with Miss Sanchez, she did tell you that Callum Porter was a possible father. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you discuss with her the necessity for paternity testing?
I did.
Okay. And during the time that you had the case, was there any paternity testing ordered?
I do not recall.
Okay.
It was in talks though about the paternity testing for, I think it was mentioned in court as well when we had the adversary for the paternity.
Okay. Now, when during the time of your investigation, did you look at Miss Sanchez's prior history?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And did Miss Sanchez have other children?
Correct. She had a total of 5 children and 4 were not in her care.
Okay, and so then Lyric would make the 5th child, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in regards to the other children, do you recall what the issue was as to why Miss Sanchez did not have her other children?
It was concerned with about the methamphetamine usage again, and then also her mental health.
Okay.
Mental health.
So would it be fair to say that drug use had been a long-term problem for Miss Sanchez?
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. After the adversary hearing, did you have any more contact with Miss Sanchez?
I believe there was one other time where I took her some paperwork, and that we had just like discussed her history, and I kind of talked to her about services and kind of really encouraged her to get engaged into services at that time.
Okay, did you do any more, investigation or casework in the case?
No.
Okay, I passed the witness.
All right, Mr. Novak, any questions?
No question, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Ms.
You know what,
Zavala?
Judge, let me ask, if I may, Mr. Martinez, how many times have you talked to Ms. Sanchez over the course of this case? Roughly.
Had one contact at the hospital. There was another contact at the hotel at Motel 6. I believe several, but it's hard to recall because it was about a year ago. But I just remember her telling me like her story and stuff when I was talking to her. So I'd say about 3 or 4 times if I'm remembering correctly. But again, it's been a couple of moments, so I couldn't get
Sure.
a specific answer.
Sure. And to your knowledge and understanding, did she express any interest in working services for this little girl?
So, I mean, she told me her life story. Like she was telling me like how she was like drugged and abused and stuff. And I remember the story very clearly because I mean that's kind of like the first time someone's kind of opened up about their past, just about everything. She seemed like she was interested, but it was kind of like, oh, if I get there, I'll get there. But she was like, I really did try to encourage her to work services. Like I really tried hard to encourage her.
Sure, and I appreciate that. And again, to your knowledge, did she work any services?
To my knowledge, no, sir. I haven't heard of any services that she's worked, but of course I haven't been inside of that part of the case after the removal. I just did the investigation.
Understood. Ruben, thank you so much. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Zavala?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Powell, anything additional?
Not of this witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Then let me just ask, is Mr. Martinez free to go? Any problem with turning him loose?
I have no objection.
No
No
objection.
objection, Judge.
All right then, Mr. Martinez, you're free to go, sir. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And Ms. Powell, you can call your next witness.
Petitioner calls Tasia McIntyre.
Okay, Ms. McIntyre, nice to see you. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Miss McIntyre, please state your name.
Tasia McIntyre,
And Miss McIntyre, how are you currently employed?
Department of Family Protective Services as an investigator.
Okay, and prior to that, how were you employed?
With St. Francis Ministries as a permanency specialist.
Okay, and are you familiar with the case involving Lyric Porter?
Yes, ma'am.
How were you associated with the case?
I was the receiving case manager after investigations finished and we were granted TMC of the child.
Okay, and approximately how long did you work the case?
About probably 3 months would be if I remember right.
Okay, and when a case transfers to St. Francis for casework, what steps do you take in working a case?
Initially we have the ICM, then we have the pre-adversary staffing. Then I look through history, look through the investigative report, staff with my supervisor, which was Marvell Collins at that time. And then start making contact with the parents and then start developing the family plan of service and the child plan of service.
Okay, and why do you develop a plan of service?
To assist them in working services that are triggered and tailored to what their needs are so that they can be a better parent and a good parent at the end of the day.
Okay, and were you involved in the development of the family service plans in this case?
Yes, ma'am. I created that plan with Shania.
Okay, and did you also create a plan for Mr. Porter?
Yes, I did.
Okay, did you have the opportunity to review exhibits that I sent out?
Yes, I did.
And specifically, did you review exhibits 1 and 5?
Yes, I did.
And are those fair and accurate copies of the documents?
Absolutely.
Have they been altered in any way?
Not to my knowledge.
And are you personally familiar with the contents of the documents?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd ask to enter exhibits 1 and 5 into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
No objection.
Mr. Novak, any objection? I didn't hear you on the record. Sorry.
You're muted.
And that was muted. I think I chimed in early, Judge, no objection.
All right, then. Petitioners exhibits 1 and 5 will be admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Miss McIntyre, were you able to have contact with Miss Sanchez?
Yes, I was.
And during the time that you worked the case, did Miss Sanchez participate in any services?
She did complete her OSAR evaluation. That was filed with the court.
Okay. Do you recall if there were any recommendations from the OSAR assessment?
I recall that it was inpatient rehab.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did she ever complete any type of rehab?
Not while I was over the case.
Did you have conversations with Miss Sanchez regarding drug use?
Every time I saw her, yes, ma'am.
And approximately how many times would you say that you saw her?
I would probably say 4.
And what did she tell you during those times whenever you would discuss drug use?
So when I met with her on May 12th at St. Francis office, she admitted to using methamphetamines the day before, which would have been May 11th, prior to the meeting me on that date. Then I also met with her on June 12th at Motel 6, and she admitted to using methamphetamines the day before as well. And then we met with her on July 9th, and she admitted to using methamphetamines at that time, and then developed a relapse prevention plan with the support worker on my case, and I filed it with the court in July.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that Miss Sanchez understood that she had a drug problem?
Yes, she admitted that to me. When I very first met with her, she was emotional during that visit, and she expressed that she wanted to work services and that she knew she had a problem and she knew what she needed to do to get it on top of the problem.
Okay. Did you discuss the relapse plan with her that she developed?
I do not recall that exact moment. No, ma'am.
Okay. So you never reviewed the relapse plan that she submitted?
I did. I reviewed it, and she created it with Shandasia, and then it was turned into me.
Okay. Did Miss Sanchez drug screen while you had the case?
I do believe so. One time while I was on it, I believe so.
Okay. And did you discuss those results with her?
Yes. Every time I made contact with her, I discussed her drug use.
Okay. And were those results consistent with what she told you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, did you have contact with Mr. Porter?
I did not. After multiple attempts, I still never made contact.
What attempts did you make to contact Mr. Porter?
Phone call, go by the address that was on file, multiple phone calls, and I believe I tried to schedule appointments and left cards on those addresses as well.
Okay. And so to your knowledge, has Mr. Porter ever engaged in any services?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And to your knowledge, has he maintained any contact with the child?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. At this time, or during the time you had the case, do you know if Mr. Porter could provide a safe place for the child?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. And is that based upon his failure to maintain any contact with you whatsoever?
Absolutely.
Okay. And just for the record, this child has been in the care of the department for almost a year. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I pass the witness.
Mr. Novak?
Thank you so much, Judge Tasia. It's always good to see you. Do you think you did everything you possibly could to encourage and assist Ms. Sanchez towards reunification?
Absolutely. While the case was assigned to me, I feel like I put every effort forward.
Gotcha. When's the last time you talked to her?
I would say that was in June or July, because I didn't locate her for my final visit in July before I left St. Francis.
And that was 2025?
That's correct.
Gotcha. Tasia, thank you so much. Go to law school.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Novak, I typically consider you somebody that gives good advice.
Listen, she needs to be on one side of this docket all day long, but with a law degree backing her up, she's that good. Thank you so much for letting me say that, Judge.
You bet. All right. Ms. Zavala, any questions?
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Powell, anything further for Ms. McIntyre?
Not for Miss McIntyre, Judge.
Okay, Ms. McIntyre, thank you very much. Is she free to go? Any objection?
I think
No
we should.
objection.
I hate to see her go, but no objection.
No objection.
She can certainly stay if she wants, but that's up to her.
Alright.
She probably has more important things to do, like going to law school. I don't know.
There you go. There you go.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Tasia.
Good to see you, Tasia.
Y'all too.
All right, then, Ms. Powell.
Petitioner calls Cassie Kopic.
All right, Ms. Coppett. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Judge. Miss Kopic, please state your name.
Kathy Kopic.
And Miss Kopic, how are you currently employed?
I'm a permanency specialist at St. Francis Ministries.
Okay, and are you familiar with the case involving Lyric Porter?
Yes.
How are you familiar with the case?
I'm the assigned caseworker.
Okay, and did you become the caseworker immediately following Tasia?
Yes.
Okay, and during the time that you have had the case, have you had contact with Shania Sanchez?
I've had limited contact with her.
Okay, has she, to your knowledge, has she engaged in any services?
No, she hasn't.
Now, during the course of the case, did Ms. Sanchez submit to several drug screens?
She did for Tasia.
Judge, I'd asked to enter Exhibit 2 into evidence at this time. It's affidavit for business records for the drug screens for the mother. They were filed with the court on January 13th of 2026, and all parties would have received a copy.
No objection, Judge.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 2 will be admitted.
Now, Ms. Kopic, how many times would you say you had contact with Ms. Sanchez?
I've seen her a couple of times in person and I've talked to her on the phone a couple of times.
Okay, and during those times, did you ever discuss with her the necessity to work services?
Yes, I did. I talked to her about her service plan. I talked to her about drug use. I talked to her about going to rehab because she did, disclose to me that she, has a drug problem.
Okay, let me break it into some questions. So if you'll answer what I ask, and then I promise I will get to it. So did Ms. Sanchez provide any explanation as to why she did not do services?
She just has been struggling. She lived like in motels, didn't have a job, habits, she'd been using drugs a long time.
Okay. In your discussions about drug use, what did Ms. Sanchez tell you?
That she'd recently used methamphetamine when I visited with her.
Okay, what was the most recent time you spoke with Ms. Sanchez?
It was November. It was the Friday before Thanksgiving.
Okay. And you said she admitted to using just prior to that?
Yes.
Now, have you attempted to contact her since that date?
Yes.
What attempts have you made to contact Ms. Sanchez since that date?
Called her. I've sent her text messages. And then I've sent letters to her relative's house. Cause that's how I contacted her the first time, cause she never did reply to my text messages.
Okay. Did you attempt to go by the relative's house to see her?
I didn't go by their house.
Okay. Now, at this time, has Ms. Sanchez had any significant contact with Lyric?
No, she hasn't.
Okay. Do you know if visitation was ever set up?
My understanding is she was supposed to have a clean drug screen, and I don't think that she ever had visitations with the child.
Okay, and is that based upon the failure to ever provide a clean drug screen?
Yes,
Now, in regards to Mr. Porter, did you make attempts to locate Mr. Porter?
yes,
Have you ever had contact with Mr. Porter?
no.
What attempts did you make to locate Mr. Porter?
I tried to call him on his phone and went by his house. I did speak with his mother, gave her my phone number. She said that he didn't have a phone. I've talked to her 2 different times, asked her to have him contact me, but he hasn't.
Okay. To your knowledge, has Mr. Porter engaged in any services?
No,
Has Mr. Porter maintained any significant contact with the child during the time you've had the case?
no,
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
no.
Okay, sorry, your microphone cut off. At this point in time, do you believe that Mr. Porter has constructively abandoned Lyric Porter?
Yes,
Okay. Now, where is Lyric currently placed?
she's placed in a foster home in Amarillo.
And how is Lyric doing in that home?
She's doing great.
Okay, and the current foster parent is present to testify regarding Lyric, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. Are you asking the court today to terminate the parental rights of Shania Sanchez as to the child Lyric Porter?
yes,
Are you asking the court today to terminate the parental rights of Callum Porter as to the child Lyric Porter?
yes,
Are you asking that the department be named temporary or named permanent managing conservator of the child pending an adoption?
yes,
And do you believe those requests are in the best interest of this child?
yes.
Okay, I pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Noah.
Thank you, Judge. And Cassie, it's always good to see you, and thank you for always taking my phone calls. When is the last time you had contact with Miss Sanchez?
It was when I seen her in November.
Okay. Did she indicate any willingness to do anything to work towards reunification with her child?
She told me that she wanted to get clean from drugs, and I, was encouraging her to go to rehab. And I didn't, at that time, I didn't realize that would be the last time I would actually talk to her. So,
And so that was the last time.
yes.
In
Well, I
the
mean, I
OSAR,
tried, but
yes, ma'am. And the OSAR indicated that she probably needed inpatient rehab, correct?
correct.
And did you explain to her that that was something that we would pay for, that the department would pay for?
Yes, we did have a little bit of a discussion. She had been to rehab prior, and she had a really bad experience. And I talked to her. I was like, "There's other rehabs you could go to. You don't just have to go to the same one that you went to before."
But to your knowledge, she understood that we would pay for a different rehab,
Yes,
and she didn't avail herself of that service, correct?
no,
Has she ever had a clean drug screen in this case?
no.
Cassie, thank you so much. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Zavala.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Powell, any further questions of this witness?
Not of Ms. Kopic, Your Honor.
Okay. But I want to just go back because she said, but I think I missed it. I'm pretty sure she said, what, Ms. Kopic, what was the last contact of any you ever had with Mr. Porter?
I've never had any contact with him, just his mother.
Okay, all right. Okay, then, Mr. Nowak, anything to present today?
Judge, I have an additional witness.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, you
Sorry,
may call your next witness.
Sorry, Judge. I would call Julie Scott.
Okay, Miss Scott, if you'll unmute for me. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Powell, my apologies again. Go right ahead.
Yeah, no, I apologize, Judge. Miss Scott, would you please state your name?
Julie Scott.
And Miss Scott, are you familiar with a child by the name of Lyric Porter?
Yes.
How are you familiar with Lyric?
I'm the foster mom
Okay, and how long has Lyric been in your home?
since May 6th of 2025.
Okay, and that is a couple of weeks after the birth of Lyric, is that correct?
Yes, 20 days after.
Okay, and how is Lyric doing in your home?
She's doing good. When we first received her, she did have some issues. She was low weight, and she was being treated for syphilis, and she was having some drug withdrawals.
Okay, and have you worked through those issues with her at this time?
Yes.
And are you making sure to stay on top of all of the medical treatments?
Yes.
And is it your plan to move forward with an adoption if the court terminates parental rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and do you consider Lyric a permanent part of your household?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and are you willing and able to continue meeting all of the child's needs?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I pass the witness.
Mr. Nowak, any questions?
I don't have any questions. I just like to, Julie, bless you and best of luck in the future. Judge, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr.
Alright.
Novak.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I have no questions. I just want to thank Ms. Scott for all of her care.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Powell, any further questions for Ms. Scott?
No further questions and I rest.
All right, Ms. Scott, I will, it won't be seconding, I guess it'll be thirding. Is that a word? Can I say that? I'm gonna
Yes, you
third- I'm
can.
gonna third what Mr. Nowak and Ms. Zavala said. Ms. Powell, no, I really do appreciate you taking such great care of Lyric and glad that she's doing so well.
Yes, thank
So,
you. I appreciate
All
that.
right. Okay, then. All right, now, Mr. Nowak, sorry.
It is very difficult for, as a trial lawyer, to say that I'm going to rest, but I'm going to rest, Judge. And it's difficult when the client doesn't show up and work with us for whatever reason. Ms. Sanchez just has not worked with us. And I don't want to, I'm certainly not throwing her under the bus. Life happens to everybody. That's my long way of saying that I don't have any witnesses, I don't have any evidence, and I rest, and I sure do appreciate the department, St. Francis, and certainly Ms. Scott for stepping up for this child. Judge, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your service to Ms. Sanchez. Okay, Mr. Porter, as we stated earlier, is not present and was personally served in the case, but he is not here, nor did he ever request court-appointed counsel. All right, Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I have no witnesses and I rest.
All right, Ms. Zavala, do you have a recommendation?
I do. I do believe it's in Lyric's best interest for the parental rights to be terminated at this time from both mother and father, and for her to remain in the placement where she's receiving such great care.
All right, I appreciate it. Okay, y'all give me just a couple seconds here.
Oh, Judge.
Yeah.
I just want to, for the record, because I didn't enter one of my exhibits, I had sent out 5 exhibits. I did not enter exhibit 3 into evidence. So I just wanted to make that clear on the record so nobody was going and looking for exhibit 3.
Okay, and you do not wish to admit to offer it? I'd let you reopen if you wanted to, but you're not requesting that.
No, Judge, I'm not gonna request it.
All right, so no exhibit 3. All right, just give me just a few minutes. All right. Court previously ruled and adjudicated Mr. Porter as the father of the child and established the parent-child relationship between them. At this time, I find by clear and convincing evidence that it's in the best interest of the child, Lyric Porter, to terminate the parental rights between Callum Porter and the child, based on Texas Family Code 161.001, subsection B1, the end grounds and the best interest of the child under B2. Court finds by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of Lyric Porter to terminate the parental rights between the child and Shania Sanchez, the mother, based on Texas Family Code 161.001 B1, the D, E, and N grounds, and the best interest under B2. I find that the Department of Family and Protective Services has made reasonable efforts to reunify the child with a parent or parents by developing family plans of service, encouraging parents to work those services, reaching out to family members as well as the parents, and that there's been little to no cooperation from parents in the case. This time I will dismiss Mr. Nowak from the case. Counsel, as always, be mindful your de novo timeframe begins to run since I've rendered an open court, and that this is an accelerated appeal. And if you're instructed to file a notice of appeal, please do not do that until a final order has been signed and adopted by the referring court. All right, for those still involved, which would be Ms. Zavala, obviously in Department St. Francis, we will have our first review hearing July 9th, 2026. That'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. Okay, I sure appreciate everybody. Thank you all. Everybody have a great rest of your day and rest of your week.
Thank you so much, Judge. And Julie, best of luck to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
We
Yes,
look
ma'am.
forward to seeing those pictures on adoption day.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go.